Two people go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, but one of them feels fresh, sharp, and ready for the day, while the other one feels like they just ran a marathon in their sleep. How is that even possible? Why do some people function perfectly with 5 hours of sleep, while others can't survive without 8 or 9? Is it genetics, brain chemistry, lifestyle, or is there something deeper going on inside our bodies? In this videocast, we're gonna break down the real science behind why some people naturally need less sleep than others, and what that means for your health. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button to help grow the channel.
So if you're like, well, the vast majority of people listening, you probably live by a pretty strict rule.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that you need, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night.
That's the magic number, isn't it?
It is. And if you dip below that 6-hour mark, you know what's coming. That mental fog, the irritation.
And that second cup of coffee. Or a third.
Or third, absolutely. It's just, the cost of admission for being human, our bodies demand that time to restore themselves.
They absolutely do.
Exactly. But today, we are diving deep into this tiny, really rare group of people who they throw that entire rule book out the window.
A mythical group, almost.
Right. We're talking about people who wake up after just 4, maybe 6 hours of sleep, and they feel completely refreshed, sharp, focused, ready to go.
And this isn't about being tough or some kind of brag. It's a fundamental biological difference.
It is. It's like the difference between, standard hardware and a custom high-efficiency processor.
Yeah.
Their entire sleep system is just built differently.
That's a great way to put it.
So our mission today is to unpack the science behind this whole phenomenon of natural short sleep. We're going to look at the genetics that make it possible and really try to understand why their sleep is just, more efficient than it is for the other 95% of us. Okay, let's unpack this.
And I think the first thing we have to do is establish just how rare this is.
Okay.
It is so crucial to get that baseline right away because we're not talking about a significant chunk of the population. The data suggests we're looking at only about 4 to 5%.
Wait, hang on. Only 4 to 5% of the entire population.
That's it. Who can truly function optimally, long term on that little sleep?
Wow. That statistic is critical because it tells us most people who think they're short sleepers are probably just fooling themselves.
Precisely. And the key distinction here is the quality of their wakefulness.
Right.
A truly natural short sleeper, after their 4 or 6 hours, feels zero cognitive deficit. They'll report high energy, stable moods, peak performance.
Indistinguishable from someone who got 8 hours.
Or often even superior. Their body isn't suffering. It hasn't accumulated this sleep debt. It's simply done all the necessary tasks in, a much shorter window.
So their body and brain aren't just tolerating a less sleep, they're operating differently. They've found a way to sort of turbocharge the whole restorative process.
That's the key concept right there.
Yeah.
Accelerated repair. And that's exactly what researchers started looking for. They wanted to find the why, the source of that efficiency.
And this is where the story gets really fascinating because the first big piece of evidence wasn't from some massive study, was it? It was much smaller.
That's right. The first major discovery came from studying a single family.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 generations. A mother, her son, and her grandson. All of them naturally slept less than 6.5 hours a night and were consistently high functioning. No downsides reported.
And that pattern, across generations like that, it just screams genetics.
It's the strongest possible indicator of an inheritable trait. And so they dug into their DNA, and they found it.
The piece of the code that was different.
They did. They identified a specific and very rare mutant variant in a gene called ADRB1.
Okay, ADRB1. That's the biological marker.
That's the one. Now, to get a little technical for a second, this gene codes for something called the beta-1 adrenergic receptor. And these receptors are packed really densely in the brainstem, specifically in a spot called the locus coeruleus, which is, for all intents and purposes, the brain's main wakefulness center.
Okay, so if that gene is mutated, what's the effect? Does it just give their wakefulness center a permanent boost? Or does it do something to the sleep state itself?
It seems to be a really delicate combination of both. The variant appears to stabilize the sleep state, letting them cycle through the essential stages, deep non-REM and REM sleep, much more quickly, but without losing the quality.
So they're just more efficient at it.
Exactly. Smoother transitions, more intense cycles, but it also affects wakefulness. Studies suggest the mutation helps the brain recover faster from neural activity, so they get a much quicker on-ramp to feeling alert when they wake up.
That makes perfect sense. It's like a high-efficiency sleep mode and a quick boot-up sequence all in one.
You got it.
To be sure this gene was really the driver, the researchers then took this to the lab, right?
They had to. They needed to isolate the variable, so they did what's called a translational science experiment. They took that exact ADRB1 gene mutation, and they gave it to laboratory mice.
Okay, so what did the mice tell us?
The mice with the gene consistently slept about 55 minutes, maybe an hour less than the normal control group.
Okay.
But here's the crucial part, and it goes back to your point about function. They didn't just sleep less. The researchers put them through all these rigorous behavioral tests, balance memory tasks, things like that.
Right.
And the mice with the mutated gene performed perfectly. No cognitive deficits at all compared to the fully slept mice.
So they just tweaked one tiny gene and suddenly the mice are perfectly fine. That seems almost too easy. It just completely proves the mechanism is wired in, not some learned behavior.
It's the ultimate confirmation. And it leads us to the core conclusion about this efficiency. We know sleep serves these essential functions, right? Repairing the body, consolidating memory.
And critically, clearing out all the waste from the brain.
Yes. Let's talk about that clearance system, because that's where the long-term risk for most of us really lies.
What exactly is this metabolic waste?
Well, during the day, as our brain cells fire, they generate byproducts. Things like beta amyloid proteins, which you've probably heard of in connection with neurodegenerative diseases.
I have.
We have this amazing cleaning system called the glymphatic system. It actively washes the brain with cerebrospinal fluid, but, and this is key, that washing process only really kicks into high gear during deep sleep.
So the natural short sleepers are basically genetically wired to run this cleaning cycle faster than we do.
Exactly. Researchers concluded that whatever their body needs to do during sleep, that vital cleanup, the memory filing, the bodily repair, it takes most people 8 hours. It takes them 6, or maybe even just 4.
They just have a condensed sleep architecture, an accelerated repair cycle.
Yes.
That's next level human optimization. Okay, so we've established the gene, ADRB1, is the master key. But here's where it gets really interesting, because biology is never that simple, is it?
Never.
If you have this golden ticket gene, are you just impervious to bad sleep? What if one of these rare short sleepers gets chronically stressed or really sick? Does the gene just stop working?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the nuance of it all. The gene provides efficiency, but it doesn't grant superpowers against, physics.
So the genetic advantage is robust, but it's not unbreakable.
Precisely. You still have to consider the factors that determine sleep quality. Even a short sleeper needs deep sleep and REM sleep.
Right.
So if they develop, say, severe untreated sleep apnea, where their breathing problems are constantly pulling them out of those deep cycles, the quality of their 4 or 5 hours will just plummet.
So the gene gives them speed, but if the road is full of potholes, they still crash.
That's a perfect analogy. Lifestyle underlying health. These things can override the genetic gift. They might still need more recovery time if they're fighting a major infection, for example.
Even if their baseline clearance system is faster.
Absolutely. More intense physical or mental demands, illness, prolonged stress, they still create a bigger cellular debt. The gene is great at processing normal daily waste, but it can be overwhelmed by extraordinary demands.
This brings us to what I think is the most crucial takeaway for anyone listening. We need to draw a really stark contrast here. We know natural short sleep is real, it's genetic, but it's only for about 5% of us. We need to illustrate the huge biological gap between being naturally optimized and just being chronically deprived.
Okay, let's go back to that simple example. The story of 2 friends, Arya and Nagar. Arya is our rare, natural, short sleeper.
Okay, so Arya wakes up after getting 5 hours, consistently. She feels that natural burst of energy. She can make complex decisions easily. Her mood is stable all day. She is restored.
Right. Then you have Nagar, who represents the other 95%.
Yep.
If Nagar tries to copy Arya and only gets 5 or 6 hours, she wakes up tired, foggy, and this is critical, her prefrontal cortex is impaired.
The part of the brain for impulse control, planning.
All of it. She might feel restless, like she's on, but she is fundamentally performing worse. She needs her 7 to 9 hours for true restoration.
And the essential warning here is that most people who say, oh, I'm a short sleeper, are actually NIGAR. They're just running on chronic debt.
They've just gotten used to the feeling of being suboptimal.
Yes.
And that's the danger we have to highlight. Hustle culture loves this idea of running on empty, but overwhelmingly, people who say, I'm fine on 5 hours, are showing performance deficits they don't even recognize. They just think that mental fog is normal.
And the risks aren't just about poor focus in the short term, are they? What's actually failing inside NIGAR when she's running on 5 hours every night?
Well, we talked about that waste clearance. If you, as NIGAR, consistently fail to get the sleep you need, you're failing to clear those neurotoxins efficiently. Short term, that messes up your memory consolidation. You struggle to learn. Long-term, chronic deprivation is linked to a higher risk for hypertension, metabolic issues, and that slow buildup of beta amyloid proteins.
The very thing the lymphatic system is supposed to be fleshing out.
The rare individuals are genetically protected from this failure. The vast majority of us are not.
The natural short sleepers have the fast track to essential maintenance, while the rest of us are stuck in a very long line waiting for basic service. That really puts it in perspective.
It does. It means that trying to become a short sleeper without the genetic key is essentially just self-sabotage.
So the burning question for the listener, why does this deep dive into the 4-hour sleeper matter to you? You might be sitting there thinking, I know I need 8 hours, so why am I listening to this?
Well, the knowledge matters because understanding how ultra-optimized sleep works, even in this extreme case, helps us set a benchmark for our own personal sleep quality.
It reframes the whole conversation away from just quantity and toward efficiency.
Exactly. It stresses that sleep needs are incredibly personal. And while 95% of us fall into that 7 to 9 hour range, that's still a wide range. Maybe you genuinely thrive on 7, or maybe you really do need the full 9 to be at your best.
And knowing your personal optimal number is key.
It's everything. When you identify that genuine window and protect it, the benefits are real. You perform better, you handle stress better, your physical health improves. It is the foundational pillar of peak function.
So it all comes down to accepting your biological reality and protecting that foundation instead of trying to force yourself into a state you weren't built for.
That is the ultimate conclusion. Natural short sleepers are a rare genetic phenomenon, wired for incredible efficiency by genes like ADRB1. For the rest of us, 7 to 9 hours of high-quality, deep, restorative sleep isn't a suggestion.
It's a biological necessity.
It is.
So what does this all mean? The goal isn't to become a 5-hour sleeper. The goal is to make the 7 or 8 hours you do get count as much as Aria's 5. Protect it like you protect your diet or your exercise.
And that brings us to a final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider tonight. Instead of chasing shorter sleep because you want more hours in your day, shift your focus completely. Focus on optimizing the quality of the sleep you currently get. If you wake up refreshed, sharp, and full of energy after 6 hours, hey, maybe you're one of the rare ones. But if you don't, the goal has to shift from less time to better, deeper quality. Making sure your cleaning system and your memory cycles are running at maximum capacity during the hours you dedicate to rest. That's the real path to biological efficiency for almost everyone.
Needing less sleep isn't about being stronger or busier than others. For many people, it's written into their genes, their brain waves, and even the way their circadian rhythm is built. But here's the important part. Sleeping less doesn't automatically mean you're healthier, and sleeping more doesn't mean you're weak. It simply means your body has its own natural design. So if you want better focus, better mood, and long-term health, learn to work with your sleep pattern, not against it. I'm really glad you were here with me in this videocast. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.